Hello everyone, welcome back to a special episode of the Undercut. Today, in light of Max Verstappen's performance around the Sao Paulo Grand Prix to come from 17th to win the race, we are going to rank our top 5 best wet weather drives of all of F1 history from the 2000s onwards. So it's not of F1 history. So basically, obviously, we understand that there has been some amazing wet weather drives, obviously from Ayrton Senna, 1985, obviously the European Grand Prix from Senna as well, Schumacher, 96. I'm sure there's many more, even before then.
63.
Clark, 63. But obviously, we never watched those races, so we can't exactly comment on those races. We've seen the highlights, we can't comment on those races, and I'm sure a lot of you guys probably are the same. So for the purpose of this video, we're only going to rank from the 2000s onwards, which is kind of our era of Formula 1, right? So just to preface that, if obviously you don't see Schumacher 96 in here, don't shout at us in the comments, oh, Schumacher 96 is the greatest F1 wet drive of all time. That's just why, okay? Right? Okay. Now that we got that way, let's get into this. So starting in 5th place, Jack, would you like to give me your 5th best drive of all time?
My 5th, I went with, in 2008, Italy, Sebastian Vettel.
You know what's really funny? I'm going to throw this in right now. In 5th place, I've got Sebastian Vettel, Italy, Monza 2008.
So
well.
we've both gone the same.
We've both gone the same.
Obviously, rookie year.
Yep.
First win.
Yep.
He just phenomenally led it from the start to the end. Yeah,
it was incredible. I don't know if anyone remembers the qualifying as well. He put it on pole in a Toro Rosso.
He did put it on pole.
Now, in 2008, the Toro Rosso was in parts better than the Red Bull, which I'm not... I don't know if people remember that, but the Toro Rosso, for a large part of the season, was actually better than that Red Bull, which is quite funny to think about nowadays. But even so, it wasn't one of the strongest cars on the grid. You still had the likes of McLaren, Ferrari, Renault in parts were better as well. BMW were quite strong that year. Toyota were okay. The Toro Rosso was not capable of winning a race, but Sebastian Vettel was, and he absolutely killed it.
And that's when he became the youngest race winner at that time.
Yes, it actually was. Yeah, it was. That was before, I believe, Max Verstappen broke that record.
Yes,
I believe.
Before Max came and destroyed it.
Yeah, by like 2 years or something. How old was Seb at that time?
21.
21. Max was 19, wasn't he?
Yeah, Spain.
Or 18.
2016.
I don't know. He was young. Anyway, yeah.
Spain 2016, wasn't it?
Yeah, Spain 2016. But either way, 5th place for both of us is Sebastian Vettel, Italy 2008.
That's quite surprising.
I know. I was not expecting you to go with Seb, Italy 2008. No. I thought you would have forgot about that one, but no, you pulled through with Seb 2008.
Yeah.
Give me your 4th place. Your 4th greatest wet weather drive from the 2000s onwards.
I went with Lewis Hamilton, Turkey 2020.
Nah, you're bullshitting me now, right?
No.
Really?
Yeah.
In 4th place, I've gone with Lewis Hamilton, Turkey 2020.
Right.
How have we got the same list, man? How have we got the same list?
We literally haven't done this together.
We have. I promise, we have not done this together. We have sat here and we've done it separately. We have no idea. This is crazy. Why have you gone with Turkey 2020?
Well, I think it was just quite masterful. Obviously, the start didn't go his way. Didn't look like he was going to win at all, did it? At the start of that race. But he managed to nurse his inters. He got his pace. He just kept it in tune, in with the track, no mistakes. And then by the end, he ran them inters down into slicks when it came dry again. Yeah. And he was just light years ahead.
Slicked immediates, as they called them, or something
yeah,
like that.
He was so far ahead, and it was literally like the definition of a champion's drive.
Yeah, and the reason I put it in, and for me, I didn't want to crowd this list with Lewis Hamilton because there are so many Lewis Hamilton drives, but it was between this one and Hockenheim 2018 for me.
Yes.
and I haven't included Hockenheim 2018. Spoiler.
Neither have I.
The reason why I didn't was because this race was the race he won the 7th championship.
Yes.
He won the world championship at this race. To do it in that manner, it's obviously nowhere near, but also kind of similar to why Max's drive in Brazil this year is so fortuitous. Yes, it was a great drive nonetheless, but the circumstances, your championship rival's on pole and you're starting 17th. The fact that he's won is, like, incredible. The same for Hamilton, like, misfortune at the start. He's come through, won the race by 30 seconds, and then won the 7th championship. Like, come on. That's incredible. So, yeah.
It was a ridiculous race. It
Yeah.
was a ridiculous race to watch. It's one of my favourites to go back and watch, to be honest.
It's a brilliant race. That era of F1, the 2020, 2021 era, where everything was just absolutely carnage, was
Even
incredible.
2019 in parts was...
Yeah,
phenomenal.
it was. But anyway, let's hope we haven't gone with the same third spot. What is your third best wet weather drive since
I
2000?
went with Canada 2011, Jenson Button.
Okay. Why have you gone with Canada 2011?
Now it was a crazy race. The whole dynamic of everything went wrong, but then everything went so right at the end.
Wasn't he like, he was like last with like, what was it, like 30 something laps to go or something?
Yeah,
He was last.
It was a mega last drive, like last half a race drive. It was mega. And
Yeah.
I think that just showed Button's quality at the end of that race.
Yeah.
Because to go from that far back to winning in that time period, in that span, you had Vettel in there, you had Webber in there, you had Alonso in there, you had Hamilton in there. It was just phenomenal.
Yeah. And we have to remember as well, he overtook Vettel on the last lap to win.
Yep.
He had to pass Mark Webber and Michael Schumacher before that. I mean, that's just... I mean... so...
Honestly, it was unbelievable. I think it can get slightly underrated sometimes.
Yes, it can. In third place, I've gone with Max Verstappen, Brazil 2024. The whole reason this video exists is because Max has just done that, so he definitely deserves a spot on this list. Are we riding the hype train now? Possibly in a few years, would it maybe go down my list? I don't know. It might possibly go behind Turkey 2020 in a few years, maybe, thinking back on it. Like, you know, I think fondly of Turkey 2020 because, like I mentioned, the 7th championship thing. But Max's drive was just phenomenal. You know, just coming off the back of watching that. He was in a different class to every other driver that day. Like, he was the only driver on the whole grid who could actually overtake people. Every other driver struggled to overtake. Yeah. Max was the only one doing it. I don't know. We've just seen the race. There's nothing more I can say. It was incredible.
No, yeah. It was a very good drive. And that's why he's my number 2.
Oh, nice segue. Okay, number 2. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I put the drive number 2 because as a race, Brazil 2024, for me, I think it's overhyped.
God-awful race.
No, I won't go quite as god-awful. But it's overhyped. It's not at the standards of Hockenheim 2019. It's not Turkey 2020. It's not all these other great races that we've had. We've had better races this year.
Oh, yeah, 100%, yeah.
In terms of a Max Verstappen drive, in terms of the parameters of the question that we're answering with these 5, greatest wet races, winners. That's what we're doing. We're doing the winners.
Yep.
And for Max to come through from 17th to 1st, to get the safety cars, to get himself in the position where he was come the end of lap 10, was it? He was 3rd, 4th?
Yeah, something like that. He was up there.
He was up there. In the wet, pulling off overtakes, as you said. No one else was really doing that. It was a phenomenal drive and one of the greatest that we have witnessed.
Yeah. Yeah, it simply was. I think this will be the race as well that will sort of cement Max Verstappen. I mean, we've had this conversation, last year, and we've had it parts this year, but I think this is the race that cements Max Verstappen as one of the all-time greats. I can't see him not being considered one of them. He's in that conversation now.
He's in the conversation of 1,000%. He's top 10.
Jeremy Clarkson even said he's the greatest driver to ever do it.
No, Jeremy
Did you
Clarkson
see his comments?
I saw Jeremy Clarkson said he could possibly be the greatest. He didn't say he is. He said he was on the fence with it.
That's still quite wild though, because you've still got Hamilton, Schumacher. I mean, if Hamilton next year in the Ferrari obviously does mad things, it's
Yeah.
Hamilton's still got time to get more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, I think Brazil 2024, if we were just doing wet races, though, it would not be number 2 on my list.
no, if it was ranking the races as a whole, Brazil 2024 is one of probably the stinkiest wet races I've ever seen.
It's not great, is it?
No.
But we're racking it in terms of winners.
Yeah, and the drive was phenomenal from Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
In second place, I've gone with, and this is also another reason why Hockenheim 2018 is not on my list, is because I could not put this on my list. It is Lewis Hamilton, Great Britain 2008. I mean,
Second?
Second, yeah. There's only one other drive that I think eclipses this. But this is arguably Lewis Hamilton's greatest ever win. Apart from maybe, I mean, it's up there, it's top 3 with the likes of Brazil 2021, Hockenheim 2018 being another example, but it's up there, and it was absolutely incredible. It was a champion's drive. It was the one that, it was sort of, I always see this race as, I'm winning the championship this year.
Yeah.
And nothing's going to stop me. And we know the misfortune he had the season before. I just think this drive was I'm the greatest. I am the best driver on this entire grid, and I will win this championship. And it was incredible. He was it was reminiscent of, of those great drives at the time. And and I think sort of reflecting on Sao Paulo this year, Max sort of had that same aura about him that Hamilton had back in Great Britain 2008. So it was one of them type of drives.
Yeah, it was. I'm quite surprised that it's your second because it's my first.
I knew that was coming. As soon as it wasn't on this list, I knew Great Britain 2008 was first.
Well, I don't understand how it can't be first. Second year Formula 1, 2008, obviously just come off of losing the championship 2007. Usually as a rookie, that could destroy you.
Yeah, it could.
It didn't. It made him stronger. It made him better. It made him faster. He lapped everyone up to 4th.
That's ridiculous,
Lapped everyone up to 4th. Was a minute ahead of 2nd. I don't understand how you can get much better than that.
In my opinion, there's one
in a
drive.
wet race in 2008, considering it's the second year of Formula 1, and he's done that to a Felipe Massa, Kimi Raikkonen, who just won the championship the year before, Fernando Alonso, who was a 2-time world champion at the time, just come off that as well from 2005, 2006. Barrichello was in there. All I'm saying is, to do that in your second year Formula 1, to be a minute ahead of second place, to lap everyone up to 4th. He lapped Fernando Alonso.
Yeah, he did.
In 2008, in the wet. It was a wet race as well. Everyone was spearing off left, right, centre.
Oh, yeah.
You only saw Hamilton take maybe a little trip over the grass once out of the whole race, but it wasn't really any danger.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. He kept it sublime. At times, he was 5 seconds a lap quicker than anyone else on the track.
Mm-hmm.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely unbelievable. And don't worry, second place is very close to my first. But first You've already said it. I've had to go with it. It's got to be Jenson Button, Canada 2011. The reason why this one eclipses Hamilton's, for me, personally, is the fact that he made 5 pit stops. He crashed with Hamilton, crashed with Alonso.
Yeah.
Had a drive-through penalty, was last, and still won the race. So that's what, and they overtook Sebastian Vettel on the final lap in a Red Bull, which was absolutely clear the whole season.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why. I mean, if he didn't win that race, he probably still would be up there, but like then it would be Hamilton 2008. But it's the fact that he won the race.
And I get that the fact that he won the race. I think what separates it for me is the mistakes that he made during it.
That's fair. That's okay. That's a fair point. Yep.
I think the mistakes that he made during it made it not a champion's drive, made it a great drive.
That's understandable.
Because he's won that race. Granted, yeah, he's come back about 5 times during the race.
Oh, it was
unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. But he's taken drivers out of the race while doing it as well. So that's the only thing. Whereas the likes of Max in Brazil, he just raw pace, miles ahead of everyone. Hamilton 2008 Britain, raw pace, miles ahead of everyone. I think that's the only thing. That's why Jenson's third, because of the mistakes that he made. But as a drive, coming back all that many times, it is still phenomenal.
Yeah, and for me, that's sort of my reason as to why it eclipses, because Hamilton and Max. Hamilton more so than Max, but they didn't have much hardship other than the fact that they just have to keep it clean. Like Hamilton's sort of, what would you say, his praise for that race comes from the fact that he just is genuinely that much quicker than everyone else, and that is absolutely insane, right?
Yeah.
But Button, all the odds were against. The odds weren't against Hamilton, and in some cases the odds weren't against Max, but they get their plaudits because of how much quicker they were, which was absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Which there's not taking anything away from that, but it's the fact that with over half race distance gone, Button was dead last, and there was no way he'd have any right to win that race, and he did, and that's why it's first.
No, I fully get that. I fully understand that. I just can't put it first due to the fact that he's the one that's taken drivers out. It's basically winning by crashing.
It's actually funny you mentioned that. I do think people may disagree with me, but I think if he didn't take Alonso out, I do think Fernando Alonso could win that race as well. So
that's the thing. Like you don't know if he doesn't crash with Hamilton, if he doesn't crash with Alonso.
Yeah.
Does he win? We don't know. Obviously, it's still a phenomenal drive from him, but what solidifies a great wet weather race is you're a champion's drive, not a fast Maldonado drive.
A fast Maldonado?
No, because the pace that he showed was ridiculous to come back 5 times. But he did it while taking drivers out, while making mistakes, while going off, while having to pit so many times.
Okay, Jack, here's a question.
Safety cars helped him many times as well.
Here's a question. If we were doing this podcast back then, right, and we were doing driver ratings, what do you give Jenson Button? Because the first 40 laps of that race, it's a 1, or even a 0 out of 5. But then you get to the end of the race and it's a 5. Where do you sit with the driver ratings on that?
I think I would give him a 3.
Man comes from last and wins the race.
No, but I think I'd have to, because he's done it while taking people out of the race. You can't have a 5 if you're smashing people out of the race.
Oh, Okay.
You can't.
No, I just thought it was funny to ponder that thought. But anyway, that is our top 5 wet weather drives of all time. We've had, I think one thing we can agree on is that, well, I mean, we've actually agreed on all 5, just different placement of different ones. So, which is quite surprising. I thought we'd have different ones in here.
Yeah.
But no, that's it. Let us know your top 5 in the comments down below, and we'll see you for the next video.